What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Of course, every Thursday is our fantasy football podcast. Now, I don't have me hosting is a little weird. I know you're usually used to J Rush, but today I got a special guest with me, Mr. Matthew. We're going to bring him on board right now.
Hi,
Fantasy
B.
novel. What is going on, Matt?
How
So
we
we're going to
doing
talk
tonight?
all about week 2. We're going to give you our predictions on week 3, who we think our sleeper are. Like I said to you since week 1, everybody, it is the Gronk show. Everybody has to get on the Gronk show. He's showed why he was great week 1, and he showed it again in week 2. You have to play Gronk if you have Gronk. I'm
Turning
just
back the
saying.
clock.
What's up?
Just turning back the clock.
I'm saying, but it's, you know what? The argument I have, and we'll start with this, is George Kittle. Where is he? He's not there. You have
No.
Darren Waller, who's just dominating over in Las Vegas Raiders, and we're going to talk about how they're still undefeated and how that's insane because Derek Carr right now is the most quarterback with passing yards. That's craziness. Over Mahomes, over everybody. But let's jump in without further ado. We're going to go right into week 2. We're going to discuss about all the highs and lows. So Washington versus Giants. Now, Matt, you are a Giants fan. I understand that, but this game, much more of a game than I expected.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the interesting thing that I have to say is, and I have him in one of my leagues, is Saquon Barkley. He's always going for that home run, but he doesn't get it. And when he doesn't get it, he loses yards. So right now, if he doesn't get that home run, look at last week. He had one good run for 40-something yards. Everything else was 2 to 3 yards. It is laughable. He has to learn how to be a team player because without that, he's not a team player. And he's just going to suffer, and the team is going to suffer because you never see him go to the left. It's always the right. But
yeah, I think it's because he hurt his left leg. It's a lot more comfortable going right now.
Yeah, but you still have to. I understand that problem that he has, but like I said, with this week's matchup coming up, I definitely do see him having a big game. But let me tell you something: you have to play Saquon if you have him. But it's getting to be that moment where maybe you should look into trading him in your fantasy team. Try to get him before he really just does shit the bed. We got coming up Raiders and Steelers. This game was a great game. Let me tell you something. The Raiders are unbelievable. One of the only undefeated teams left in the NFL. I think Derek Carr over there is doing a fantastic job at quarterback. And he's just dominating in that. So not a surprise. The Steelers are a good team, but right now how the Raiders are going, I don't see anything of slowing them down.
No, man. Gruden is also he's calling some great games. They're finding a lot of passing yards out there.
49 Eagles. Now, this was surprising because week 1 of the Eagles, they were looking absolutely fantastic. You had Devontae Smith, the wide receiver, looking really good out there. Miles Sanders is questionable for week 3, but he should be able to play this week, hopefully, fingers crossed. But right now, they got a good offense there, but against the 49ers, they did not deliver. And it was very surprising. And it looks like the NFC East again is going to be that wild card of who's going to be that, no offense, that 8-8 team. Who's going to make it to the playoffs? Because right now, you can't say the Giants didn't play well on Thursday. You couldn't say the Washington didn't play well. Eagles were going against a top-tier team, which now the 49ers are also undefeated, 2-0. So what do you have going there? But moving on, Browns, Texans. Browns, good old Baker. I mean, you had Landry get hurt, and now he's on the IR. So very sad for Jarvis Landry fans out there.
And no Odell yet.
But when OBJ comes, I mean, it's definitely gonna just increase what's going down in Cleveland. I always like Cleveland, and I think they are definitely making a run for the playoffs again. They looked great last year, and I just see them coming again. Broncos undefeated against the Jags. Nothing crazy on that game I want to talk about. What I want to talk about to you, Matt, and I want to get your opinion on something. People will know that obviously I am a Saints fan, and Jameis Winston shit the bed.
Yes,
Can
he
I
did.
get an agreement? We're gonna side
It's
by side this
terrible.
for a second. He's terrible. He should
Well,
not be the quarterback.
I mean, I don't know if he's been like this his whole career. You get the good game, you get good Jameis, and you got bad Jameis, and we've already seen that in 2 weeks. You got good Jameis and bad Jameis.
So my question to you then is, when do you think Sean Payton goes, you know what, we're going with Taysom Hill? Taysom Hill is now the starting quarterback. Jameson Winston, you're going to take a seat. They're paying him quarterback money, Matt, to just
Yeah.
sit on the bench?
Taysom Hill, yeah.
Why would they let him sit on the bench? He can move, he can play the positions. I've always been a fan of Taysom Hill. I've never liked Jameis, and showing the, I would like to say, joke of a game that was against the Panthers. I'm not saying the Panthers are the greatest team ever. They are undefeated. Like I said, one of the very few that are still undefeated. But, I mean, going against Green Bay, a legit top-tier team, and then just to falter to the Panthers? Come on, Jameson Winston. What is going on over there? Get your shit together. I'm done with my rant on the Saints. But do you believe that Taysom Hill should be starting quarterback?
I think that if they lose, they're going to New England this week, and if he, as you said, shits the bed again, then I think you'll see Taysom Hill after that.
See, I always knew I like you, buddy. So we got the Rams, Colts in a very nice, tough game. Rams, of course, still undefeated, looking good over there. We're going to just run through this. The Bills dominating the Dolphins. Now, Tua is out for this week.
Yeah.
So, and the Bills, Josh Allen, second-ring quarterback in fantasy, and it showed why. You know, he's got that Stephon Diggs. He's got some great receivers over there. Also, the running back, you got Singletary, a whole bunch of them over there. So the Bills just running through things. Patriots, Jets, not a surprise there. Jets are terrible.
The Jets are terrible.
I mean, it shows that Sam Darnold went over to the Panthers, and the Panthers are 2-0. So it wasn't Sam's problem. It's everybody on the Jets. But I digress. Bears, Bengals, tight game again, 20-17. I mean, who the fuck did not see the Bucks dominating Atlanta? I mean, Matt Ryan, you got to keep to your commercials. Do you see that commercial with the with Steve Austin and that's the man knows his career is
Matty
over.
Ice. Yeah.
The man knows the career is over, and that is why he's coming in, because he knows he has to do these commercials while he can, because if he doesn't, then he's not going to have a career much longer in Atlanta. Cardinals versus the Vikings. Now, a very good team, but nobody can deny the fact that Kyler Murray should be a top-tier quarterback in fantasy. I dare say he's better than Mahomes.
He is right now.
I mean, week after week, last year when I had him, he was getting 30-plus points. The man is great. He has a great receiving core on that team. So
loves to run around, make things happen.
So, like I said, obviously, if you have Kyler Murray, you're playing Kyler Murray. No doubts about that. We have the Tennessee Seahawks game, which I thought was very good. Now, I'm very high on the show about Russell Wilson. I think that this will be an MVP year for Russell Wilson. I mean, but when you talk about Derrick Henry last week in the second half, unbelievable. Over 155 yards, multiple touchdowns, showing why he's King Henry. I mean, that was definitely, everybody was thinking that the Cowboys-Chargers game was going to be a high-scoring game and big offense. But let me tell you something. King Henry showed up, and he showed why he is one of the best running backs in fantasy right now.
Yeah. He even caught 6 passes.
That's what I'm saying. He's been doing it all over there, and he definitely showed why. Of course, Cowboys versus the Chargers. Big game. Eckler putting up some nice points. If you're a big Austin Eckler fan, just keeps giving you the points. Another 15-plus game. for fantasy. If you have half PPR, that's even great. Full PPR, even better. You got Keenan Allen over there, but like I said, the game not as a big scoring game as one
No,
would hope.
no.
Chiefs Ravens. You have the Ravens winning against the Chiefs, which that I mean, did you see? Let's backtrack for a second. Did you see that Lamar Jackson missed practice because of his jump throw? That
Yeah,
is
because of his
absolutely
hip.
ludicrous.
Yeah, he was sore.
But it's, I don't
I
know
mean, he'll
what.
be fine for Sunday, but yeah.
Absolutely, he'll be fine. Like I said, they let him take their time. But last game of week 2, of course, Panthers versus Lions. And if anybody did not see this, come Aaron Rodgers coming out like a fucking phoenix rising from the ashes, you guys would be absolutely insane. Of course, showing love to Aaron Jones with his 4 touchdowns, which were absolutely incredible.
Unless you were facing him.
Yeah, unless indeed. You expect that from a McCaffrey. That's like I was making the joke. I was at my buddy's house and I had the choice between Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones because I had a whole bunch of and I don't trust Nick Chubb, not with Kareem Hunt on that team. It's
No.
a wash. I feel between the two of them. If one has a game, they're going to stick with that player. But when it came, I just never liked Aaron Jones. And for people who say, Aaron Jones is now a number 1 running back, he is. But show me again this week why he's going to get the catches. No, it's going to go back to Devontae Adams. They're going to start showing love to Randall Cobb. Cobb, I was very high on also that he is going to be a sleeper down the line. Aaron Rodgers, he knows Randall Cobb. They've played together. He's back home. They're going to show why he is back in that Green Bay's uniform.
Went and
So
got
that's
him, so.
so that's enough of week 2. I'm done talking about week 2. That's past. That's in the past, Matt. We're moving on to week 3. So now I want to get your predictions a little bit on this. Let's start, of course, with today's game, Panthers versus Texans. Now, Panthers are dominating over at a 2-0 record right now. So do they continue? Is Sam really the answer that everybody's been looking for over in Carolina?
I mean, he looks like it so far. I mean, they're heavy favorites to win again, so they're probably going to start 3-0, which is not something you would have thought when he was on the Jets.
Let me tell you something. That division, obviously, taking out, I am a Saints fan. We get this. Saints trying to rebuild. Obviously, Drew Brees was a loss. Atlanta, nobody knows what the fuck's
It's a
going on
hot
over there.
mess.
There's nothing going on over there.
No.
Bucks should not be surprised. They kept basically their whole team and their whole offensive line, and Gronk has just been doing Gronk things. And for Sam Darnold to come out and be able to work with McCaffrey, work with Robbie Anderson, and make that team just sparkle in the way they are. I mean, Texans, I do think is a great team. Brandon Cooks, I am playing this week in fantasy. I think you guys also should. He's had a good last couple weeks. I think that he can definitely build on those and just continue to give you 10 plus points a week. I think he's very good. He can have a big game. I always liked him when he was over on the Saints, and I just think he's just going to do great things over there. Now, I'm very curious with you, sir. When I say to you the Chargers versus the Chiefs, this, in all fairness, should just be a humongous game of scoring
Shootout.
fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking fantasy, play everybody.
I mean, you have, like I said, Austin Eckler, you have Keenan Allen, but then on the other side, of course, you have Mahomes, you have Hill, like a lot of big fantasy players. Like I said,
Kelsey.
if I would not play either of the defenses, no, don't do that. But when it comes to high scoring game, if you have one of these top guys, you need to play them in your fantasy this week.
Yeah, even
Cardinals versus
CEH.
Jags. This is a laugh. Kyler Murray is going to run through the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. You are going to see an easy 35-point game from Kyler Murray this week. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I'm surprised at the spread. I don't know if you have it up there. It's only 8 points.
Really?
Yeah, you would think it would be like 12 or 13. It's only 8 points, so
Yeah.
Somebody thinks it's going to be closer than we certainly do. So I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think they can stop Kyler.
I don't think this is going to be the biggest blowout of the week, but we'll get to that. Oh, don't worry, fans. We'll get to that. We got the Bears versus the Browns. Also a very interesting game because I could also see this going either way. I mean,
Well, Justin Fields.
yeah, exactly. You got Allen Robinson, who really hasn't been that marquee fantasy player. So I expect a big week from him. David Montgomery should also have a nice, pretty good week. But you still had the interesting thing with Jarvis Landry was out after the first play of last week's Browns game, and the Browns still won. So is Baker still making things happen over there? I'd be very curious to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't play him this week. Even I think Odell is supposed to play, but I still wouldn't play Baker.
No,
I think they're
not
just going to
not
run the
not
ball.
with this matchup. I feel.
No.
But you know who you should play, I feel, is Josh Allen when they take on the Washington. Because I feel like the Bills are just going to run through Washington again.
Yeah, it's a big spread. It's 10 points. So
I mean, my question to you is, like I said, Giants fan, we understand. Heineke, is he the saving grace for Washington?
no, he's just a guy.
Do you think that if they end up going on a winning, do you think that he could be the guy in Washington?
No, I think he's just like I said. He's probably
just a
just an
placeholder.
average. He's just an average NFL quarterback.
We got Colts versus the Titans. Now, I 100% believe King Henry is back, and King Henry is going to show why he's back. And this is going to be an all Titans game. Not saying that the Colts aren't going to put anything up. I am playing Pillman this week. After 2 weeks of not playing him, he put up a good performance. I don't have Jarvis Landry on it anymore right now, so this is going to be Pittman's big game for me. Wise decision? Who's to say?
But I think you got to make sure Wentz is playing.
Well, that's the thing. Will Wentz be playing? And Wentz, I feel like he's just so injury prone that it's hard to get behind the Colts sometimes in that team. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has really not been showing up for me the last couple of weeks, which he was a number one pick for me. And I was really, really liking this kid. And right now, not working out. I would feel that him and Wentz, would have that nice little shared ball, but not really working out. That also might be a future trading option if he does not step up to the plate. Now, I'm not going to talk about this next game. I'm going to let Matt do all the talking. Saints.
You don't want to talk about the Saints?
Do we think the Saints have a comeback with Jameis Winston, or do the Pats take them down?
Going to New England? No. Teams don't go to New England and win. I mean, I know they don't have Brady anymore, but they still got Belichick. They still got a defense.
What do you think of the Myers kid, the wide receiver?
They're not using him enough right now. They're playing very conservative. It's very early. Very early Brady. If you remember when they first called Brady up, they run with defense and just don't make mistakes, and that's kind of what they're doing now. So it's hard to trust anybody but their running back Harris, because he's the only one. He's getting the ball 20 times a game.
From Mr. Joseph, Wentz is expected to be ruled out by tomorrow.
Okay.
So
it's kind of hard to play Pittman then.
Yeah. Well,
you run out of options.
Let me talk to you, though, about the game of the week. No doubt in my mind. Of course, I'm talking about Atlanta versus the Giants.
It's not the game of the week.
Who's going to be the best team there? I mean, I swear to you, if this is what I'm talking about, if Saquon Barkley does not show up against the fucking Atlanta Falcons, man, you have to trade him. There's no other option. Because if you can't do anything against by far the worst fucking NFL team in probably the last 3 years, I mean, this is literally laughable now with Atlanta. And I feel like if you do not play Saquon if you don't think the Giants are going to win. I think the Giants are definitely going to put on a show and show why just Atlanta should just stay in dead last.
Yeah,
we got the
you
Bengals
play
versus
your
the
Giants,
Steelers.
man. Play all the Giants.
Play all the Giants indeed. Well, let me tell you something. A lot of love last week for Shepard. You think he's going to continue to show a lot of love? I think
Yeah.
Daniel Jones and him really having a nice connection. I think they could
Yeah.
really step up and be the next nice duo, the Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams, the Mahomes to Hill. I mean, it is a stretch, but let me tell
Yeah,
you,
it's not
Shepard
on
was
that level, but he looks for he goes back, he's looking for Shepard. He hasn't worked with Galladay that much.
You really didn't see anything from Galladay, and you
Nope.
saw the frustration in him. But you see Shepard cool, calm, collecting the passes. Daniel Jones learned from Eli Manning, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. So, he's not going to take that from Galladay, and he sees that Shepard is just there to play, and I think he's going to get a lot more balls. And like I said, against Atlanta, how the fuck do you not get all the balls? Bengals versus the Steelers. I really feel like the Steelers are going to have this game. Mixon, I would like to know where he's at. That would be nice to know. Is he going to show up this week? Really have a good game against the Steelers? Not really sure. So I'd be iffy on the Mixon just because if you have other players to play, I would maybe consider about even putting him in a flex. I wouldn't put him in your running back position, but if there's a better opportunity that comes, I'd put him in a flex and maybe swap him out if last minute. But that's my personal opinion. We got the Ravens versus the Lions, which if the Ravens should actually win because the Lions just look terrible.
Yeah, pretty easily.
I mean, the only argument I want to talk about with the Lions right now is Hawkinson. I think he's the only one on that team right now. And if a tight end position were open, like I said, we're not talking enough about Gronk. We're not talking about Hawkinson. We're talking about I picked up Jared Cook last week. I think
me too.
some of these guys, are not being – you have your Travis Kelce who's going to score you a shit ton of points. You have Waller. But Kittle really hasn't been producing, so you're seeing these other tight ends. And like I said, if you're able to make a trade for Hawkinson, that might not be the worst thing right now because Lions don't look terrible, but you definitely see the love going towards Hawkinson. So, what are we at right now? We got, just the best games left. Jets versus the Broncos. I'm not even going to talk about this game. The Broncos are going to win.
Broncos are going to win.
If you play any Jets players, you're absolutely insane.
Don't play any Jets.
Don't play any of the Jets. Raiders, Dolphins. Now, after Dolphins' performance last week against the Bills and how the Raiders have been playing, I see this being the biggest blowout again. I see just Derek Carr going again. He's the number one quarterback right now in passing yards. Over Mahomes, over everybody. That's insane.
Sure.
So I don't see why he's going to slow down, especially against the Dolphins, who Tua's not playing. We've already seen that he's been ruled out. So you're already looking at a weak team, and Devontae Parker can't do everything. Bucks Rams. Let me tell you, this is the game that I'm ready to watch. Because I feel like these are just going to be two behemoth going at it. Now, what is your thoughts on this game, sir?
I mean, these are two best teams in the NFC right now. And the Buccaneers are a little banged up. So if I had to pick, I'm actually going to pick the Rams in a bit of an upset. Their offense has basically been unstoppable for 2 weeks. And they still have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So
we do also have Henderson.
He's hurt. We don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah, but he has been playing, has not been ruled out as of right now.
No.
So I'm very curious to see how this game goes down. But I definitely see it being a tight-knit game because let me tell you something. There are people that Brady can throw to, and he will find those people.
Yeah.
Seahawks versus Vikings. Wilson, this is your MVP season, buddy. Show me why. I mean, Lockett has been on fire lately. One of the best receivers right now. I mean, DK Metcalf, not even in discussion. Granted, they
No,
don't
not
have the best
yet.
running back with Chris Carson, but Russell Wilson definitely could put on a performance, especially with last week's game. You know he's hungry. You know he wants to get it back. I definitely see a big week for Russell Wilson. I will be playing him this week in fantasy.
Absolutely.
Packers versus the 49ers. Now, this one intrigues me because are we going to see Aaron Rodgers all fired up again and have him actually show love to other players besides Aaron Jones? Or are we going to see the 49ers still just being that undefeated team? Who's to say? My thoughts on this game is I think, as much as I hate the man, you can't doubt Aaron Rodgers. And I think it is going to be Aaron Rodgers who's going to come away with the victory here. I think he's going to show. I think a lot of people are going to be concentrated on Aaron Jones, and I think you're going to miss those big opportunities with Davante Adams, and he's just going to go insane. And I definitely see a Green Bay win for that one. What is your thoughts, sir?
That would be an upset, too, because the 49ers are favored.
Like I said, I think that after the humiliating defeat to the Saints week 1, I would just like to say, humiliating defeat. Aaron Rodgers is hungry, and he's going to show why he's one of the best. And you know he's not happy in Green Bay, but you want to show why he is going to be big money for next year.
Homecoming
On our
for him,
final
too.
game, what's up?
It's a homecoming for him, too. He's from Northern California.
That is true. Finally, on this week is Eagles Cowboys. This intrigues me because which team is going to show up?
Hopefully they both lose. Can they both lose?
We could have a tie. Would you accept a tie?
I would rather they both lost.
The reason why I'm happy this is the last game we're talking about is Zeke. Has he lost his muster? You had Tony Pollard fucking doing work last week when Zeke couldn't even get a couple yards. So does Zeke lose his job to good old Tony soon? Does Zeke actually show up and we get the Zeke of feed me more? Or is those days behind him? I mean, Dak looked great both weeks. You can't say he was not looking great, but my problem is not with Dak. He's got great receivers in Lamb and in Cooper, but your running game is suffering right now if it wasn't for Tony. Is Zeke really worth it right now? Is he? Yeah, it's the same argument I have with Saquon. It's soon to be. Are you going to trade some of these guys that just on name you're going to keep them? No. There are people that are coming up from the ashes, and they will be showing why they should be the number one running back. You see it with Tony Pollard. You see it. And I mean, even Kamara still having great games, but you see that Ty Montgomery having some great yardage too in those games. So I'm not saying to bench them, but it should be the thought process of maybe I can get more from Saquon Barkley or Elliott in a trade right now instead of waiting another couple weeks and they just falter out. So that is week 3. Those are a little bit of our predictions. What we like to do now is give little sleeper thoughts. Now, of course, I'm always going to say good old Gronk is going to have a game. But I'm going to also go out on a limb and say for this week, who I'm liking against the Lions, Mark Andrews. I think Mark Andrews is due for a big game. I think he's one of the tight ends that not a lot of people talk about. I think he's a great tight end. I think Lamar is going to start focusing on him a little bit more. And I think you're going to see the battle of the tight ends. So if you have Hawkinson or if you have Mark Andrews, I would definitely play one of those two tight ends. I'm not going with Gronk this week. I've gone with Gronk the last 2 weeks. But I definitely think on the tight end position, you cannot go wrong with either of them if you have them. That's one of my little sleepers that I think is going to have a boom, boom, boom week. What are your thoughts, sir? I don't think I'm
Yeah,
facing you in
definitely.
any league, so we're not going to spoil it for each other.
Yeah, Andrews is definitely due, especially against Detroit. They don't seem like they can stop anybody right now.
I do want to have a shout out to Godwin. I think that Godwin / Evans could have a nice Bucks game
Especially
because
if
I think.
Antonio Brown's not playing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I said last week on the podcast with Joe is I feel my argument, and I'll ask you the same question from last week. Can Antonio Brown become the number one receiver there?
No.
You don't think he will become over Godwin or Evans? I
No, I
think
don't
with
think
his
so.
performance the other week that Brady knows him. Listen, he was in what? Oakland for and I'm sorry, not Oakland anymore. Las Vegas. He was in Las Vegas for 20 minutes. And then now he's at the Bucks. He was with the Patriots, but Tom sat him down. He goes, "Listen, motherfucker, I'm a veteran quarterback. I'm going to tell you how it is." And now him and Brady just have a great thing going over there.
Yeah, but there's too many mouths to feed. You saw week one, Evans. Evans had whatever 2 catches week one, and then last week Antonio Brown had 2 catches. So I think as long as your boy Gronk is going to stay involved, somebody's not going to eat whatever certain weeks, and it's going to make it unpredictable. But
Okay.
if Brown's not going to play this week, I think it's great for everybody.
Also, if you have any sleepers, I do have one final question, and then I think we'll put this podcast to an end. But if you have any other sleepers or people you should keep in mind for this week,
I mean,
or
if you
pick
want to
up.
go a little deeper, the Cardinals, big favorites going down to Jacksonville. So both of their running backs in that second half, they're going to eat. So Chase Edmonds, James Conner, I wouldn't be surprised if they both scored touchdowns this week. So I'm liking them.
Okay. Mr. Joe says not great for Brady.
Great for Brady.
So my big question is, and I've wanted to bring this up for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to bring it up today. The Tennessee Titans have King Henry back. You showed in the second half. Hold on. My apologies, technical difficulties. You had King Henry back last week, put on a monsterful performance in the second half. Julio Jones. He's been on my bench for 3 weeks. Any reason to play him? You got A.J. Brown over there. Big A.J. Brown. King Henry's back. Julio Jones. Why should I play him? By
I mean,
name?
he had a touchdown called back last week, which was kind of unfair. If you wanted to see the replay, they called him out. They could have called him in, and that would have changed his day a little bit. A.J. Brown has had some drops too. Right now, they're going to feed Henry.
So you think it would be a safe bet to keep benching Julio Jones until he says different?
I don't know if you can bench him.
But look at the wide receivers that you have. We have a comment from Joe again. I'll trade you Heron and Pete for an Xbox.
Pete, you didn't get your Xbox yet? Come on.
Oh, yeah, it's right now downstairs. I haven't opened that bad boy. I had to do some live streaming today. But no, I think Julio Jones will find his place in Tennessee. I definitely think it was a loss to Atlanta for losing him, obviously. But Jones also saw the just destruction of that team, shall we say.
Yeah, they might have done him a favor.
So I don't see anything bad happening on that end. But that's going to be week 3 for football and fantasy. Of course, we're here every Thursday, right before the Thursday night game. Joe, we'll be back next week. And if you want to join us, sir, we can have up to 3 people, have a nice little conversation if you would like. But yeah, So every Thursday, we have this fantasy little podcast we do over here. Also on my channel, I got a whole bunch of stuff on games. Check out Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I also have the Nintendo Direct that just happened. I want to thank you, Matt, for joining me today. I appreciate you.
Problem.
And until next week, guys, happy football. Let's hope that the Saints actually win. Let's hope the Giants win.
Go Giants.
And let's just hope that everything bad happens to Carolina today. And for the final quote, thanks for co-hosting, Matt, from Joe.
Yeah, anytime.
There you go. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.